Welcome back to Tutors. This is the second session of complex numbers. Let's not waste time and move on to the topic. So, what are the important concepts you have learned? Describing the complex number and its algebra. We have discussed in the last class. What is a complex number? We have discussed. Let's have a quick revision of that. What is iota? The properties of iota. We have did question on that. Algebra mainly addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. What are multiplicative inverse and what are additive inverse. These were the concepts we have learned in the last class. And today we will be looking at conjugate, modulus, argument. Argument will be discussed in the next lecture with Euler's form, de Moivre's theorem and cube root of unity. And today geometrical representation will be the highlight. Now, conjugate of a complex number. Let me move to one more style. This is a simple visualization, like as a cartonic picture. Everyone has a conjugate given, just flip the sign. That's the meaning of conjugate. That's 2i is flipped into minus 2i here. That's the meaning of conjugate. Move back to the slide. So conjugate of a complex number, let's take an example. Z is equal to x plus iy. Now the conjugate of this will be flipping the sign of the imaginary part and don't touch the real part. That means x minus iy. The real part stays the same and the imaginary part flips the sign. And the representation is z bar. Let's have that example. 2 plus 3i will be 2 bar plus 3i bar. That will be 2 minus 3i. Don't touch the real part. Real part will stay the same. And 1 minus 2i will be 1 plus 2i. 3i is actually z is equal to 0 plus 3i. So it's actually minus 3i, the conjugate of that. And this would be minus 2i plus 1. And this will be 2. 2's conjugate will be 2 only. So it remains the same. Now, we'll learn the properties of conjugate. First of all, z bar the whole bar. If I take z is equal to x plus iy and take the conjugate of this will be x minus iy. Again take the conjugate of the conjugate, that will be x plus iy again. That means when you take twice the conjugate of a complex number, you get the complex number back. Fine? And second thing is conjugate of z1 into z2. The conjugate will get distributed. That will be z1 bar into z2 bar. Similarly in division the conjugate get distributed z1 bar by z2 bar. And this again in addition also it will get splitted z1 bar plus z2 bar. In subtraction also it follows the same. Now this is a quite important thing. Let us take z is equal to some 3 plus 4i. And I will take the conjugate of this, that will be 3 minus 4i. When I add z plus z bar, I will get 3 plus 4i plus 3 minus 4i. The imaginary part get cancels and I will get 2 times 3, that is 6. So this gives me 2 times the real part of it. Similarly, if I take the difference of this, 3 plus 4i minus 3 minus 4i gives me 3 plus 4i minus 3 plus 4i. This gives me 8i, or simply it's 2 times imaginary part of z. Hope you understand that. And there is one more property there. Z to the power n bar will give me z bar the whole raised to n. It's actually very simple. Let me explain that to you. I said this gets splitted up. Z1 into Z2 bar. So Z raised to n means that will be Z into Z into Z into etc. up to n times the whole bar. Right? And this gets splitted up. So this becomes equal to Z bar into Z bar into Z bar into etc. up to n times. So this is actually Z raised to n whole bar and this is Z bar whole raised to n. So do you understand why that property came? It's very important property. So I think conjugate is quite simple. We'll move on. There we have a good question over what we have just discussed. This is a recorded session, so you can just pause the video and try it out. I'll just move on to the solution. You can watch it later then. So A is equal to A is at theta belongs to minus pi by 2 to pi. 3 plus 2y sin theta by 1 minus 2y sin theta is purely imaginary. Then the sum of element of A in A is how much? Good question. I'll currently off this. Yeah. Let's discuss in detail. So we have 3 plus 2y sin theta by 1 minus 2y sin theta. This is a complex number. Let us take some z is equal to this because it contains I in both numerator and denominator. However you rationalize, it will be get formed into the general equation, and that becomes a complex number. So I can write this as a complex number. Now we need to simplify this, right? Just now we have learned a property z plus z bar gives me 2 times real part of z. And do you realize, as we discussed in the first lecture, purely imaginary means the real part is 0. So purely imaginary, that's the hack. Imaginary means the real part is 0. That is z plus z bar is actually 0. So you just need to add the conjugate of this. Now let's take the conjugate. What will be z bar? It will be 3 plus 2y sin theta by 1 minus 2y sin theta, the whole bar. As we have discussed just now, in division the conjugate gets split up. So this is actually 3 plus 2y sin theta bar by 1 minus 2y sin theta bar, right? And that is 3 minus 2y sin theta by 1 plus 2y sin theta. Now thing is, you just need to add. So z 0 is equal to, that means z plus z bar is equal to 3 plus 2y sin theta by 1 minus 2y sin theta plus 3 minus 2y sin theta by 1 plus 2y sin theta. Thing is, you need not solve all this. We'll look into it. 3 plus 2y sin theta, we'll cross multiply first. 1 plus 2y sin theta plus 3 minus 2y sin theta into 1 minus 2y sin theta, whole divided by, this will be 1 plus 4 sin square theta, and that is equal to 0. I don't mind what will be the denominator. I am worried about the numerator only. So see, 3 into 1 gives me 3. That's a positive number. I don't want negative number. I just need the positive number. I mean the real number, real part. And I don't need the imaginary part. The real part you need to equal to 0. That's the thing. Because there is something. Overall there is some imaginary part over here. Because it's purely imaginary. So let's find out what is the real part of this. So 3 into 1 gives me 3. 3 into 2y sin theta. That's imaginary. I don't want that. Then 2y sin theta into 1. I don't need that too. Then we have 4 sin square theta into I square. That's it. So I have here 3 minus 4 sin square theta plus, here also 3 into 1 gives me 3 positive, I mean real part. Then 3 into minus 2y sin theta, no, imaginary. Minus 2y sin theta into 1, again imaginary. And we have plus 4. Did I miss anything? No, right? 4. No, this will be minus, right? Plus and minus. Minus sine square theta. that's equal to 0. Because minus into minus plus and then have I square. That gives me 0. And also I have a 3 remaining. I'm sorry. So overall I have, and denominator there is 1 plus 4i. I am not worried about that. Because there will be 1 plus 4i sine square theta. And that becomes 0. No issues. So ultimately my equation becomes 3 plus 8 sine square theta, and when we simplify it becomes 3 is equal to 4 sine square theta. That means sine theta is equal to root 3 by 2 plus minus. Now you are given that theta belongs to minus pi by 2 to pi. Let us visualize that. This is my minus pi by 2, and here somewhere I have pi, and this will be somewhere like this, right? And my root 3 by 2 is somewhere here, and minus root 3 by 2 is somewhere here. So it has 1 point over here, and it has 2 points over here. That means ultimately this is 60 degree, that is pi by 3. This is 2 pi by 3, and again this is pi by 3, minus pi by 3. So theta can take values minus pi by 3, pi by 3, and 2 pi by 3. Minus 2 pi by 3 is not in the range. That's why minus 2 pi by 3 can't be taken. Okay. So when you add this up, you will get theta is equal to 2 pi by 3. So let's move to the slide. Yeah. Let me rub this up. So our answer is option D, 2 pi by 3. Let's see. I'll rub this up. So this is what we have done. Let's suppose z is equal to 3 plus 2i by 1 minus 2i sin theta. And since z is purely imaginary, then z plus z conjugate will be 0. And then we add up. We'll have theta is equal to plus minus root 3 by 2. Then we'll have 3 numbers, and ultimately we'll have 2 pi by 3 in France. So that's okay. Now let's move on to the next concept. Representation of complex number. Now where do we represent the complex number? That's the question next, right? So representation is same as you do in the real numbers. In real numbers you plot in the Cartesian plane. Similarly you plot here in a plane called as Argand plane. The name is different but thing is same. There is no difference in the plotting also. Only the name is different in an Argand plane. That means similar to real plane, real numbers have complex plane called as Argand plane. Argand plane, we have x and y axis in the real, that means the Cartesian plane. We have here real and imaginary axis. X axis and y axis is not there. We have real axis and imaginary axis. And how to plot this? Let's take an example. Z is equal to 3 plus 4i. 3 is the real part. So plot the real part over here, 3. This is 3. Now imaginary part, as I said, I is just a representation. We need the number. Imaginary part of Z is 4. So represent 4 somewhere. 4 will be somewhere over here. This will be 3 and this will be 4 and this will be 3, 4. So this is how we represent Z is equal to 3 plus 4i in the Argand plane. You understand? The real part of the complex number is represented on the real axis. Imaginary part of the complex number is represented in the imaginary axis. Now it's like again a Cartesian picture. That means 8i should stay in the y-axis. That is the imaginary axis only. And so nothing much. Just for your understanding. Geometric representation of modulus. This is very important. Now we'll move from here only. Now what is modulus of Z? This makes your life more simple. Modulus of Z. Modulus of Z actually is the distance from origin. This word will really help you a lot. Trust me, this word will really help you a lot. distance of z1 from origin is modulus of z1. That means if I plot 3 plus 4i over here, the distance of 3 plus 4i from the origin gives me the modulus of z. And what is this actually? This is 3, this is 4. So what is this? The right angle triangle. By Pythagoras theorem, mod z will be root of 3 square plus 4 square, and that is 5. So in general, if I represent a complex number x comma y, and this is modulus of z is actually root of x square plus y square. That is the root of the square of real part plus the square of imaginary part is what modulus is. And the second one, distance, we will discuss. The second point we'll discuss. Wait for it. We'll discuss it. Now we have some properties. I don't think it's so clear. Anyway, I'll write it over here also. Modulus of z is equal to 0 means z is equal to 0. Why? Simple representation. Modulus of z 0 means the distance from origin is 0. That means the particular points at the origin. Then only the distance will be 0. Then the complex number x plus iy, that is root of x square plus y square. X should be 0 and y should be 0. That is the origin. So if modulus of z is equal to 0, z is definitely equal to 0. Now, modulus of z bar and modulus of z is the same. Why? Let's take an example. 3 plus 4i is z, and 3 minus 4i is its conjugate. What is the modulus value of this? So root of 3 square plus 4 square. What is the modulus value of this? Again 3 square plus 4 square. So either the conjugate of the real number or the complex number, doesn't matter. The modulus of the distance remains the same. Now the next is modulus of z1 into z2. Here also we can split like the earlier one, modulus of z1 into modulus of z2. And with the connection we can just represent this also. Modulus of z raised to n will be modulus of z raised to whole raised to n. As we discussed in the conjugates, the same concept, okay? And similarly, if z1 by z2 division is there, you can split up that. And next one is very important. Z into z bar will give me modulus of z square. Why? Let's take this. This is my z, this is my z bar. If I multiply both z into z bar, 3 plus 4i into 3 minus 4i will give me 3 square plus 4 square. There is no root. And modulus of z means that is root of 3 square plus 4 square. So this actually gives me x square plus y square in general, and this gives me root of x square plus y square, and if I take the whole square, LHS and RHS become equal. So z into z bar gives me z into z bar gives me modulus of z the whole square. Then we have a triangle inequality. That's also important. I'll off this up. Now, if I have a triangle, I plot, let's say z1 is over here, z2 is over here, and this is my modulus of z1, and this is my modulus of z2. Now, these are positional vectors. If you are in class 11, then you will find some difficulty in understanding, but once you learn physics, the starting only, you will understand what are vectors. I am not going in deep with vectors because we have another topic called vectors in class 12 only, and we will be discussing physics also. So simply just understand these are two positional vectors, and if I draw the same thing over here and here, this vector I just copy pasted here, and this vector also I copy pasted here in the same alignment, the same axis. So this diagonal gives my resultant to Z1 and Z2. That is modulus of Z1 plus Z2. Now this is Z2, this is modulus of Z1. Now you have been learning from class, I don't remember which class. The sum of two sides of a triangle will be greater than the third side. So definitely modulus of Z1 plus Z2 is the third side. This distance will be less than or equal to the sum of the other two distances. Simple. So modulus of Z1 plus Z2 will be less than or equal to modulus of Z1 plus modulus of Z2. Hope you understand this from this particular diagram. Don't worry about the vectors. You will be learning that. Just understand this is one position vector, second position vector. I just copy pasted in the same axis and this two in the same axis. I drew a diagonal in this parallelogram. This becomes a parallelogram, and this distance is same, this distance is same. So this is a parallelogram. The diagonal of the parallelogram gives my resultant. Understand this much. Okay. Now I'll get back to the slides. So we have got the triangle inequality also. Do pause the video and write it down. These are very important concepts. And also, you'll be getting this PDF. I'll be putting in the description box. And if you understand this concept, do press on the like button. That's the feedback for me. So we'll move on. This is a question from your NCERT. NCERT miscellaneous question. It is so simple when you understand what is modulus. The modulus concept makes it super simple. Let's do it. We have x plus iy is equal to root of. Then we need to prove x square plus y square the whole square is equal to a square plus b square by c square plus d square. Now, I'll take modulus on both sides. That's my first step. Now, what is modulus of x plus y, x plus iy? Simply root of x square plus y square. And this root I can write it as a plus ib by c plus id whole raised to 1 by 2, right? It becomes a plus ib by c plus id whole raised to 1 by 2 the mode. Okay, so we have learned a property, that is modulus of z raised to n is z raised to n the whole power. So this 1 by 2 will go outside the modulus, so I'm not worried about that. So root of x square plus y square is equal to, I can split the modulus because it's a division, modulus of a plus ib by modulus of c plus id, its root. Hope you understand, this n goes outside the modulus. Squaring both sides, it becomes x square plus y square is equal to, now modulus of a plus ib is root of a square plus b square, and c plus id modulus is root of c square plus d square. Again squaring it, this becomes x square plus y square the whole square, and this root get cancelled up. I mean, when squared up, gives me a square plus b square by c square plus d square. Hence, this question is damn simple now. If you understand the modulus concept, this becomes super easy. Now let's move on. Now, this is the most important topic of the day. The distance geometrical interpretation of complex number. If z1, z2 are two complex numbers, the distance between z1 and z2 is modulus of z1 minus z2. Let's first look in this and then we'll come to this. Okay, I'll currently off this. Okay, so let me draw an organ plane. Let me represent z1 over here. Let me represent z2 over here. Now, as we said, this is the modulus of Z1, the distance from origin, and Z2 is the Z distance again. Now, between Z1 and Z2, this is modulus of Z2 minus Z1. Let us understand. As I said, this is similar to our Cartesian plane. Let us take this one as x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. Though it is in the Argand plane, let's imagine that these are in the real plane, that is the Cartesian plane. So these are simple coordinates. So what is the distance between Z1 and Z2 then? By distance formula, you have x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square, right? A 10th standard one. Okay. Now from we come to Argand plane again. Now this is my Z1, this is my Z2. Now modulus of Z2 minus Z1 is modulus of this. Actually Z2 is x2 plus I y2 minus x1 plus I y1. When I combine the real and imaginary part, I'll get x2 minus x1 plus I into y2 minus y1, right? And the modulus of this will give me root of x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. So isn't this same? So that means modulus of Z2 minus Z1 represents the distance between two complex numbers, and this is a proof for that. This proof came from the real part, I mean the Cartesian plane. When you take two numbers, two coordinates, distance between gives me distance formula, and similarly here you have the proof with the distance formula. Okay, so let's move on to the slide. So that is the understanding of distance. I'll make sure that you understand the geometrical interpretation in 10 minutes. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, we have a question over here. A complex number z is equal to x plus, as I said, we will discuss some important concepts also in the questions. X plus iy when satisfying equation z minus 5y by z plus 5y modulus is equal to 1. Lie on the x-axis, circle passing through origin, straight line y equal to 5, and none of this. As I usually say, pause the video, look into the question, try it once, and then try to solve it. Now we have modulus of z minus 5y by z plus 5y equal to 1. Now we need to check it lies on x-axis, it lies on the circle passing through origin, a straight line y equal to 5, or none of this. Now let me first of all use a modulus property. Split numerator and denominator. Modulus of z minus 5y by modulus of z plus 5 equal to 1. Multiply modulus of z minus 5y is equal to modulus of z plus 5. Now this is an important property. Let me off this off. Yeah, we'll discuss the property first. Let me drawing it. Let me take 2 points. Z1, Z2, and I'll join Z1 and Z2. I'll draw the perpendicular bisector of Z1 and Z2. The perpendicular bisector of Z1 and Z2. And there is some point Z. This distance and this distance is equal. So this is a property. If the distance Z minus Z1 is equal to Z minus Z2, then Z lies in the perpendicular bisector of Z1 and Z2. I'll tell once more. If the condition is somewhat Z minus Z1 is equal to Z minus Z2, Z minus Z1 distance is equal to Z minus Z2 distance, then the complex number Z lies on the perpendicular bisector joining Z1 and Z2. Hope you understand that. So now let me move to the slide. Yeah. Now in this question now it becomes damn simple. Let me draw the Argand plane. Let me plot the points. This is actually z minus 0 plus 5y and z minus again 0 minus 5y. So you don't have any real part, you only have the imaginary part. Plus 5y and minus 5y. Plus 5 is somewhere here, minus 5 is somewhere here. Now the perpendicular bisector of 5 and minus 5 is the origin, of course. And this will be the x-axis will be the perpendicular bisector. Am I right? So z lies somewhere over here. So that's the question. Where does z lie? Z lies in the x-axis. Option A. So do you realize how simple it becomes when you geometrically visualize the things? Let's move on. This is the thing we have discussed. Z minus z1 is equal to z minus z2, then it is the perpendicular bisector of, lies in the perpendicular bisector of z1, z2. And this is what we have discussed. This is the line and lies somewhere on the x-axis. Now, the next question. These are very interesting questions. These are only for visualization questions. Trust me. The inequality z minus 4 modulus less than z minus 2 modulus represent the region where. Again, let's first think of the theory we have. We have z minus z1 is equal to z minus z2. Then it lies in the perpendicular bisector of z1, z2. Okay. Let me plot 2 over here. 4 over here. I have z minus 4 plus 0i is equal to modulus of z minus 2 plus 0i. Right? So 2 and 4. If it was equal, if the distance was equal, z lies somewhere in the perpendicular bisector of 2 and 4. That is 3. So z lies somewhere over here. This distance will be equal, this distance will be equal. But it is said that the distance z minus 4 is less than z minus 2. That means the z is away from 2 but nearer to 4. That implies, right? So z lies somewhere over here. Let's see. This is not z. I'll rub it up. Z lies somewhere over here. It is nearer to 4, away from 2. Now, thing is quite simple now. Now, this is some x plus iy, and this is some x. So, obviously, the real part of z is greater than 3. This is your answer. You have your options. Real part is greater than or equal to 0. Can be the answer. Real part less than no. Real part is again greater than or equal to 0. None of this. No, it cannot be equal to 0. It can be greater than 0. So, I think the best option is none of this only. Because real part is greater than 3. It cannot be less than 3. Real part is greater than or equal to 0 means it can take a value between 0 and 3 also. So option A cannot be, option B cannot be, option C cannot be, and so that the answer is none of this. The actual answer is real part of z is greater than 3. This is the visualization we have discussed. Now let's move on to the last topic of the day. Now, the same thing, the distance concept. If the modulus of z minus z naught is equal to r, that means the distance is constant. Then the locus of all point. Now, don't confuse with locus. If this is my z, and all those red points are my z, satisfying the same condition. The locus is simply if there is some 11th standard students. So let's say x plus y is equal to 1. all the points that satisfies this equation joined together becomes a locus. Don't worry about that. You'll be learning it in detail. So this distance, if I cover all that particular condition everywhere, I'll be getting a circle. So actually z minus z naught modulus is equal to r or equal to a constant distance, the locus of point is 0. That means it's actually circles. Actually it's a circle. That's it. The next one is z minus z naught is less than r. Let be z naught and z be like that only. But it's less than r means the radius is the same. This is the circle, but the point z lies inside the circle. Right? This is my circle of radius r. This is my z naught. Now z lies somewhere inside the circle because it's less than radius. Right? It is less than the radius, so it lies somewhere inside the circle. Similarly, z minus z naught is less than or equal to r means it can lie either on the circle or inside the circle. Z minus z naught greater than r means it lies outside the circle, somewhere outside the circle. And if it is greater than or equal to r means it lies on the circle or it lies not on the circle. That means lies outside the circle. Okay. So this is the part of complex. We'll discuss with the question and then we'll understand. This is a very good question. Find a complex number z satisfying modulus of z minus 25i less than or equal to 15 having least modulus. That means our aim is to find the z which has the least modulus. Means, as I said, modulus means it is the distance from origin. So you have to find a point z where the distance from origin is the least. That is the understanding of this question. If you visualize this, it will be damn simple. So I'm moving on the answer. Let's see. Z minus Z1, it's Z minus 25i can be written as Z minus 0 plus 25i. It is less than or equal to 50. So let me draw that. So this is my organ plane. My radius is 50. So let me draw a 15 radius circle. And my center is this one. This is my center of circle. So this is, let's say, 25. Now people, do you get where will be set having least modulus? This is my origin. Obviously that will be this. This will be the least distance from origin, right? So z must lie over here. Now we need to find the having least modulus, the z satisfying this having least modulus. So this total distance is 25. This distance is 15. So this distance is 10. So answer becomes so easy, z is equal to 10. Fine. So that's all for today. Do watch this session again. This is very important. Understand the concept. Now, and if you understand the concept, do press on the like button and share it with your friends if you find it interesting, and subscribe to our channel. Press on the bell icon for more notification because there's a lot more to come. Stay tuned with us. Thank you.